I apologize. Yes, my hair is wet. I didn't have time to dry it before I recorded. So there's that. We also are here today because we are going to be reading through the fourth blog that has been provided to us through DC. This one is called Training Day. I have not read it yet. We're going to experience this wonderful event together. Let's go. You'll get used to stuff like this eventually, Jon Stewart said. There'll come a day when being shrunk to microscopic size for training purposes will be old hat. Down here, we can use our powers at full strength without worrying about stuff like property damage. Besides, haven't you ever wanted to take a really close look at your backyard? Not really. Blue Lantern Esperanza Cavalera managed a nervous smile in response, then turned to the man responsible for this amazing transformation, the Atom. "And you're certain there will be no side effects?" she asked the Justice League veteran. The Mighty Mite chuckled and smiled warmly at her. "You know, Superboy had the same concerns before I shrank him, Supergirl, and Steel down to help Superman out of a jam," he said. "I'll tell you what I told him. You're perfectly safe. Scout's order." "In that case, let's do what we came here to do," Esperanza replied. She turned to face her twin sister, Lucia, the latest member of the Indigo tribe. "Time for some training." "Okay, Lucia, here we go," the Atom said. "Both Jon and I have used Indigo tribe gear before, so we're going to show you some of the things it can do for you." "As you wish," Lucia replied. "I know some of those things already. Flight, for example." She demonstrated this by flying in a quick circle around the group. "The ring translates languages for me, too. Came in handy when Esperanza and I helped out some Chinese sailors on a damaged freighter." "I know that feeling," Jon said. "Have you tried teleporting with the ring yet?" Lucia nodded. "A few times. I'm told going extremely long distances can be very exhausting, so I stick to short trips around town." "Okay, that's good," the Atom said. "You're lucky. Jon and I had to learn how to use the ring fast in life or death situations. Taking a slow, steady pace wasn't an option for us." He smiled as he opened a small pack. "Let's try a little target practice," he said before throwing a handful of tiny objects onto the ground nearby. A moment later, he enlarged them, revealing them to be children's toys. Jacks, to be precise. Jack's toys? Toys that are Jacks, like the little knuckle things. Okay, yeah, I know what Jacks are. Jacks, at her current size, were as large as cars. As Lucia prepared to fire at the nearby toys, the Green Lantern stepped forward. "Remember, you can access the powers of other lanterns when they're close. Try hitting those with something lean, mean, and green." Nodding, Lucia concentrated on the emerald power of will, and the symbol of the Green Lantern Corps appeared near her forehead. A moment later, she fired a large, glowing green boxing glove at one of the Jacks, smashing it into pieces. "Nice," Jon said, grinning. "Went for one of the Hal Jordan classics, I see." "I saw him do it on TV once," Lucia replied. It seemed appropriate. "Since Mr. Stewart was so kind to assist us today," Esperanza said to her sister, "why don't you use the power of my core to energize his ring for him?" With a nod, Lucia silently channeled the power of her sister's azure ring to supercharge the green ring on Jon's finger. In response, the ring began to verbally provide status reports to its wearer. "Ring power at 120%, 130, the ring said. "Okay, I'm good, Lucia," Jon said. "I won't need that much juice to get home today, but thanks." "Your ring can heal those in need as well," Atom said. "Though not to the level your sister's ring can, of course." "Lantern 2814.3, said Jon's ring. "Crisis situation at sector 2261. All lanterns within transit range are ordered to assemble there as soon as possible." 2261, Jon said. "That's Mogo's sector. Damn. Sorry, folks, but I've got to get moving. Atom, mind re-embiggening me back to my regular size? Can't say I want to try getting around on a living planet while fun-sized." Sure thing, Atom replied. Going up. After the Atom quickly activated hidden controls in his costume, the group rapidly grew to their regular heights. Lucia noticed a look of concern on her sister's face as they stood in her backyard. Are you okay, Esperanza? Lucia said. Her sister shook her head. No, in response, as she walked toward John. I'd like to come with you, Mr. Stewart, the Blue Lantern said. Something important to me is on Mongo. I want to help. No problem, John replied. If it's as big as it sounds, we'll need all the help we can get. Esperanza turned to face her sister. I have to go, Lucia, she said softly. It's important. I know I can count on you to keep training and to be the light you're meant to be. I'll try, Lucia said. Hey, I believe in you, Esperanza replied. Okay? All will be well. And with that, she gave her twin a big hug. Knock, Lucia replied, in the language of the Indigo tribe. Compassion be with you, sister. See you soon, the Blue Lantern said. I'm ready, Mr. Stewart. Lucia watched silently as her sister and the veteran Green Lantern flew at high speed toward space. I won't let you down, Esperanza, she thought. Through the power of compassion, I'll be the light you want me to be. I will atone for my sins. Okay, so I don't have a problem with the story. Actually, I think the story is interesting. It's an interesting narrative that we're following. I do think this particular narrative is a little bit of a leap from where we left off in the game. So I wish there was a little more context of what happened in between. But that being said, that's not a big deal to me. The thing that I hate about the blogs is the fact that we are receiving information about the storyline for a game. It should be in the game. I don't like that this information is something they've provided in the blogs and likely won't be in the game because honestly, the previous 3 blogs, none of those were in the game. So I assume this won't be either. I don't mind if there's information I have to look up online for character builds and understanding how my powers and things work, how artifacts work in conjunction with other things. I understand that that's kind of a necessary step when you're playing an MMO that changes all of the time. And not only MMOs, for other games that's the case too. But the storyline of the narrative that I'm supposed to be playing through is not provided to me in the game. It's provided in these blogs and I don't like it. And I'm a reader, I love reading. But if I'm playing a game, I'm not trying to go to other websites and find the storyline of the game that I am playing. I want the storyline to be in the game that I'm playing. It's something I feel is an issue particularly for Blog 3. I feel like we got more information about Voivode and Jack in Blog 3 than we did in the game at all. The game did not give me an opportunity to care about the characters at all. Their deaths were kind of meaningless to me. And even if we included the blogs, I still didn't care enough about them. I was not given the opportunity to do so. And the narrative that they had in Blog 3 was actually something I found quite interesting and could have potentially been part of the game. Because in Blog 3, it specifically gives us a scene where Voivode is holding a Magent upside down over the edge of a building and has a conversation with him. And then Jack has some suggestions about that situation. It's a comical little scene that could have been in the game. Then Jack also speaks with the Laughing Hound spirit in the cemetery, which is introduced to us in the game, but it's so minutely, it's not even obvious. It's such a small part. I actually thought it was a mistake. And I have read the blogs, and I still was like, is that an accident? The spirit's name changed to the Laughing Hound by mistake. There's some kind of a glitch. I didn't realize it was part of the narrative because it's not presented to us as part of the narrative inside the game. And it's not obvious in the blog enough because I didn't remember it at the time. That conversation that occurred between Jack and the Laughing Hound ghost could have been something that we, as our character in-game, were present for. Not only that, but because of the conversation that Jack had with the Laughing Hound, she goes to the mausoleum with Voivode, and they have an entire experience inside the mausoleum, knock out a bad dude, which also could have been in the game. Not only that, but if they had have included it as part of the game, they could have used the mausoleum for 2 different load-ins and had 2 different stories going on in the mausoleum. Because the first boss that they knock out, I can't remember his name, Future Laura, I am Future Laura, Future Laura, Yeah, she's referring to Monsieur Mort. Also, don't appreciate being summoned. His name is Monsieur Mort, so it says, looks like the ghost was right. Jack and I found a boatload of zombies down in the mausoleum. Hooray, more gross. Again, the humor that Voivode kind of has in the blog is not present in the game. At least not as far as I can tell. With the exception of saying that Constantine has hot uncle vibes and should wash his coat, neither of which I found funny, one of which I found confusing. But, yeah. Monsieur Mort, for real, that's his name. Jack and I got to hear our first villain monologue. This all could have been in the game. Why didn't we journey with Jack and Voivode through this situation, then go and speak with the ghost with Jack, go with Jack to try and convince Voivode that we should do that, all of us head down into the mausoleum, knock out a bunch of zombies, and find Monsieur Mort. We defeat Monsieur Mort. And then the next time we go into the mausoleum, there's an entire other narrative that they already gave us in the game that could be in there for us. I mean, it would have saved them a little bit, because if they had have done that, we would have at least been able to go backwards with the load-ins. We would have had the raid being that really fun raid that I don't like, with the the obelisks and the ghosts that we are supposed to escort. That's really annoying, but that would have come first, right? We get that mission first. Then we would go into the alert, where we do this with our companions, and we try to work out the situation with Monsieur Mort. Then we continue through the storyline that is actually in the game, and we go into this solo in the way that we have it in the game. We would have had 3 different load-ins. Granted, one of the locations would have been the same, but the narrative that we would have had inside there would have been different. The enemies would have been different, and they would have continued the storyline without me having to read a stupid blog online. No, I think you got a little bit confused about the order there. The raid would obviously be the first journey into the mausoleum when we're looking for Monsieur Mort. Then the alert would be the really annoying obelisks and the escort mission of the ghosts. And then the last solo would obviously be the solo we already have. If by the time we'd finished doing everything else and we go to Constantine, I mean, they'd have to obviously change it around a little bit, because the narrative is directly starting with everything running back and forward to the pub with Constantine at the beginning. That would obviously change a little bit to accommodate the extra bit of narrative that would be at the beginning. But if when we're finished all of that, we go and speak with Constantine and he gives us that final, go and help out people in the town, blah, blah, blah. If we were also given the mission list for the raid, then the alert, then the solo, and also something that points us in the direction of the dailies, would have been received much smoother, at least from me. Also, I don't appreciate needing to appear. There should be absolutely no need for future Laura. And it would have saved us having to do that escort mission for both our alert and raid. So, guys, I'm really curious what you guys think about this. I do not like the blogs. They are not getting any better for me. They're making me more annoyed about the fact that likely the information we garner from them we will not receive in the game. And honestly, I wish it was in the game. I would have enjoyed it more in the game. I probably would have cared about Jack and Voivode a lot more if that narrative that they put in the blog was part of the game and we were able to go through it together. I wish they'd stop doing the blogs. They're just annoying me. I don't like them. Let me know what you guys think, though, because maybe I'm the minority. Maybe people love them. Maybe it is creating the hype they want it to. But honestly, I don't want any more. Anyway, have a good one, guys.